On today's show, Luka Dončić signed an extension with the Lakers. We know what that means for right now, but what does that mean for next summer when we look at who could be a free agent in the summer of 2026? We talk about all that and so much more. Today's edition of Locked On NBA Game Night.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
What's up, everybody? I'm Danny Cunningham from Locked On Cavs, Swipa from Locked On Nuggets, and thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. This is a show where we talk about every game, every night. When there are not games, we find something to talk about in the NBA. There's always something to talk about. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else. If you're watching the show on YouTube, do us a favor. Hit that thumbs up button for us, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest from us. Of course, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is code LOCKEDONNBA at Monarch Money for half off your first year. We got news this weekend as Luka Dončić has agreed to a 3-year contract extension with the LA Lakers, meaning, of course, he's locked up in LA and will not be a free agent next summer as he could have been. This, of course, means some really good things for Luka financially in the future after this extension finishes, the amount of money he'll be eligible to sign for. But what we're going to focus on today, Swipa, is that this is a move that, while was pretty, I think, widely expected, does take the number one free agent off of the board for next summer.
Yeah, I mean, I never really I always feel like Luka was going to resign. It just depends on which year he was going to do it with. I think that this obviously gives the Lakers a lot of flexibility. You know, for me, this is a kindness out of Luka Dončić for him to do this time, because I think he could have easily gotten more money in next summer, and he could have put more stress on the organization, I think, to make improvements on the roster. All of the things that star players are able to do. I think getting him at $165 million for 3 years, this $55 million annual average, like, that's nothing, you know. And unfortunately, I think that the situation, you know, they're in with the Lakers is because of the LeBron news for next year. You know, they're trying to figure out what direction they're going to be going in. But obviously, I think a lot of Lakers fans, the reason why they feel so hopeful right now is that they didn't know what the direction was going to be after Anthony Davis and after LeBron. And they get a gift from the heavens in Nico Harrison just saying that we're off of Luka Dončić out of nowhere. And now they have a foreseeable future, and they have several iterations of their team that they can build really hypothetically over the next 10 years around Luka Dončić that gives them real runway where they're going to have an arguable top 4, top 2, top 3, top 1 player in the NBA every single season. And they have him, I think, on a very team-friendly deal relative to the market that he could have had. And on top of that, you know, they'll have more flexibility in the coming seasons as well. So I think Luka obviously deserves it. You know, he is one of those players that is a blank check player for me, that whatever the money they could be paid, they deserve to be paid. I think Luka is going to have a spectacular season again this year. He's going to remind a lot of people why he's leads a lot of MVP conversation to start off every single season. And this is a great move for the Lakers, especially now having Marcus Smart and DeAndre Ayton in-house. They have some pieces around him, including Jake LaRavia. This could be a good start. This could be a start of something really special for the LA Lakers over the next several years.
Now, of course, all that is true, but this also, I do think, one of the first things that you think about with Luka signing this extension is, what does this mean for LeBron James? Well, our Andy Kamenetsky over at Locked On Lakers answered that question.
He co-host of the Locked On Lakers podcast, and August 2nd was Luka Dončić Day in LA. He signed a 3-year, $165 million extension with the Lakers, which locks him up for the foreseeable future. In the meantime, LeBron James, for the first time in eons, is an impending walk-away free agent, which has led some to wonder what this means for LeBron and the Lakers in 2026 and beyond. Not much, one way or the other. I mean, LeBron knows that Luka is the face for the Lakers moving forward, that Luka is the priority, as well he should be. I think LeBron can understand why. And this summer, if LeBron prefers a different place to retire, end his career than the Lakers, he'll find a different place. I'm not sure he actually can find a better setting than the Lakers. And I don't think he wants to leave LA. So I think the possibility remains that LeBron could sign a new contract with the Lakers, assuming the terms work on both sides. But either way, whatever tension exists between LeBron and the Lakers, I don't think it's between LeBron and Luca, and that matters a lot. For more Lakers coverage this offseason, make sure you are watching Locked On Lakers on YouTube and listening wherever you get your podcasts.
So the LeBron Lakers summer has been interesting. There's been, I think, at least appearing to be a lot of tension. There was the very interesting statement, I think is one way to describe it, that Rich Paul gave to ESPN when LeBron did opt into his contract over a month ago at this point. And there really has been a lot of chatter, but a whole lot of nothing that has happened since then. But he will be, as Andy said, a free agent next summer. And one of the things Andy mentioned was maybe not being able to find a better situation. I think it all depends on what LeBron wants. Like if LeBron James is willing to sign for the minimum, the veteran minimum next year, which I don't know if that's a thing LeBron James is willing to do. But if he is willing to do that, I do think he can find better basketball situations than the Lakers. Like I do not think that the Lakers are set up to be a championship team or the best team in basketball next year. But I do wonder, what does the next 12 to 18 months, or I guess, what do things look like when the 2026-2027 season tip off for LeBron James?
Yeah, I think the situation is very tedious a little bit because LeBron obviously wants to play with money. I can probably say that's near the top of the list of things that he wants for the next year or 2 years of his career. I think that finding a situation that he would want to leave, like actually leave LA, the market, his businesses are there. He lives in LA. He's comfortable in LA. His family's in LA. His wife likes LA. Everything about like LeBron, the businessman, it speaks LA. But could you find better basketball situations on the MLE? Sure. I mean, I think there are plenty of better teams that could do that other than the LA Lakers. But in terms of realistically, more than likely not. I mean, if you ask me, my gut feeling is he retires as a Laker. You know, they find a way, you know, if it's this next season after this one, they resign him to another deal that's not as that's more cap friendly. That's, I think, more reflective of the situation they feel like they're going to be in. I do think it's interesting that LA did not give him an opportunity to have a player option on the next season to be able to do a 1-and-1. That way, if he did want to come back, he would have the ability to do so. It seems as if LA wants to have the control on, hey, LeBron, if you play well this year again, great. We might bring you back. If you don't play well this year, then, hey, we probably won't bring you back. It feels like Rob Pelinka and ownership that they're trying to have as much leverage as possible with LeBron, which is a situation LeBron has not been in really over the course of his career since he's been an all-pro level player. I think that for LeBron, it would be very, very, very difficult for me, Danny, to see LeBron leaving LA if he had his choice. But if you're saying they force him out, then yes, there are several situations, at least 3, that I can think about that would be better championship opportunities for him. But I truly still cannot see it happening. But Danny, maybe you have a different perspective. Maybe you think him not having another year available to him, them not giving him a 2-year, them not giving here a year in a player option, maybe that's them saying that, look, after this year, we don't want you to be a part of this roster.
Well, I think that flexibility is the thing that the Lakers care about most. And this is, as you mentioned, the first time, not just like in LeBron's career, but really since LeBron has been 16 years old and in the national spotlight. This is the first time where he's not been the one with the most power in whatever situation he's been in. Like you go back to his days in high school playing at Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary's, like he was the program, and that team was really good. Had a lot of good players and won 3 state championships, but LeBron James was the program. And then when LeBron gets to Cleveland as a rookie, he is the Cleveland Cavaliers. He gets to Miami, even though Dwayne Wade is established there and won a championship there, like LeBron James was the one that was used to having the power, and they went as LeBron went, and they won 2 titles there in part because he was at the peak of his powers. Gets back to Cleveland again in complete control. And he really, those 4 years, the second Cleveland stint, was just basically signing this 1+1 contract where he would sign for 1 year and add a player option in, and he had all the power. He kept the pressure on, and he sort of didn't try and do that with the Lakers all the time. He gave that organization, I think, a little bit more trust than he gave the Cavs specifically in his second stint. And I do think that's part of the reason why he finds himself in this situation where there is some uncertainty. And of course, we don't know what LeBron's going to look like on the floor this year. And I think that's the one thing that we don't often mention, like what he has done in year, going into year 23 has been unprecedented. Nobody has ever been this good for this long. So I do think it is a delicate situation to try and handle. But as you look at what could next year be, the thing that I think, just as far as we look at legacies of guys, the one thing that I look at and say, you know what, I don't think that I really would like to see LeBron playing in a uniform he hasn't played in before. Like, that photo of Hakeem and Patrick Ewing playing against each other when they were on the Raptors and the Magic, the photo of those two playing against each other late in their career, I just don't know that I want to see LeBron in that type of jersey. Like, I just think that he's built up so much history with Miami, with Cleveland, with the Lakers. Like, 3 teams has been great for him. I just don't know that I would like to see a 40-plus-year-old LeBron wearing a different uniform he hasn't worn before.
Look, I think LeBron is still going to be an all-NBA level player next year, and he might be able to end his career, Danny, at playing at that level again. So there's still situations, though, where if LeBron wants to win another title and LA says that, hey, look, we're just moving on. We're just ready for the next era and for Luca to take the control of the franchise. Look, if you tell me he went to Denver, I think he'd win another title. Like, I think that would be runaway. I think he would be great in that situation. If he went to Cleveland, I think that'd be another great situation. They would be the favorite out the Eastern Conference, I think, easily. I think if he went to, he probably wouldn't go to OKC, would play with a bunch of kids, but even Houston, like if he went to go play with Houston, like there's still basketball scenarios where I'm like, he could be on a favorite and they could be still winning the title. And LeBron would be a 25-5 player still in year 24. Like, he's that good. So I hope, though, he's allowed to go out on top still. A lot of players fade into, just nothing, kind of like they just are very minuscule versions of themselves when they get to that point. But I think LeBron will still be a very high level contributor 2 years from now.
A lot of players look like shells of themselves at the end. And LeBron obviously does not look like what LeBron looked like in 2013 or 2018, but he's still really good. And I'm with you. I do hope that at a certain point before he really does start to diminish, because he's not the same athlete he once was, and it's not fair to expect that. But I do hope that we don't ever see the version of LeBron. It's just like, you know what, man, you probably shouldn't be out there. And I don't think that we will either. I think that's one thing that we can say, maybe not super confidently, because this is all unprecedented, but I just really hope that comes to fruition. Now, LeBron is not the only guy, of course, that's going to be a free agent next summer. There are several guys that are extension eligible as this summer rolls on in the NBA, and guys that could hit free agency next summer. We're going to talk about who some of those are that maybe move the needle for your favorite team next, right here on Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's show brought to you by Monarch Money. Do you ever wish that managing your money felt easier? Well, with Monarch Money, it can feel way easier. Whether you're growing your savings or planning for a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you the full visibility and control over all of your finances. And Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending right in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. One of the things Monarch Money can do, maybe you have a bunch of subscription services. I know I do. Maybe, and you might not even know this, you might be paying for the same thing twice. Maybe there's a streaming platform that you've got to have because your favorite show's on it, but you're actually paying for 2 separate subscriptions and you might not realize it. Well, Monarch can be the one to help catch that and help save you money and get back to building your wealth. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA, that is LOCKEDONNBA, at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Again, that is monarchmoney.com. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Thank you again for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. Like we said earlier, you can find the show anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else. And of course, LeBron James, not the only one that is going to hit free agency next year. And, I do think there's a discussion to be had about how much do free agents matter, considering that the way that I think the best teams are built are not necessarily adding prime time free agents, but there are a list of guys that have made all-star teams that we expect to make all-star teams in the future that could be hitting free agency next year. There's a long list of it, and just Swipe. I just want to start. Is there anyone that you look at this list? Is there anyone that you look at and say that guy really stands out and I could see him reaching free agency? Because it is worth noting too, a lot of these guys are eligible to sign extensions this summer. So maybe they come to terms with their current team and they are not in the free agent market next year.
So obviously LeBron's at the top of the list. Kevin Durant also is at the top of that list. He will be he's extension eligible now, but he'll be if he just plays this out, he'll be a free agent next year as well. I think Trey Young has a player option. James Harden has a player option. Zach LaVine have player options. Those players probably end up getting extended, but Isaiah Hartenstein has a team option, Danny. That's a movement player for me. That's a player that, we'll see how OKC wants to kind of navigate his books, but if he comes off the books after these 2 years, say they win 2 titles, say he's anchored 2 elite defenses now. Well, all of a sudden, I think Isaiah Hartenstein becomes a real needle mover. That if a team has like $25 million, $30 million in cap space, and they want to give a 4-year, $25 million a year, 4-year, $120 million a year deal to a center that's a good passer, has really good touch, good post player, really good post defender, good situational defender, that would be for me the kind of name that you're looking for to say that like they can make a real difference. KCP has a player option next year. I think he's going to take that. Tobias Harris, he's going to be a free agent as well. That's another player. So I honestly think, Danny, below that star level, it's like these really high-end level role players that make differences on championship teams. I think iHeart and Tobias Harris kind of fit that mold the best.
I think iHeart is a great example of this. And the fact that obviously the difference between him and Tobias is, as far as the contract goes, is that the Thunder do hold the option with Isaiah Hartenstein, as you mentioned. And I cannot, with the way that Sam Presti has built that team, I'm not so sure that we're going to be talking about Isaiah Hartenstein on the Thunder a year from now. Like, I do think that there's a very real possibility that he plays the first 2 years of that contract, and we'll see what the option holds. But I do think there's a world in which the Thunder pick up that club option. And of course, they just drafted a guy that could be the Isaiah Hartenstein replacement, but I could see them picking up that option and trading him somewhere else, because what Oklahoma City has done is they are not going to lose the asset, which Isaiah Hartenstein at this point is such a positive player. He is such a good big man connector, I think is a great way to describe him, but he does all those little things. He helps build championship rosters. I don't think they're going to lose him and just let him walk away. He might not be on the Thunder, but I think that they're going to pick up that option, which is $28.5 million, and potentially trade him somewhere else so that they can continue to replenish what they have as far as maybe draft picks. Maybe it's a role player at a different spot, but they have done such a good job of building their team that way that I could see that's the way that situation goes.
Yeah. Lou Dort, another name, by the way. He has a club option next year for 18. So do you think Lou Dort is a guaranteed re-sign for them, or is that somebody that they're going to be in another situation where we might be looking at trading him?
I mean, I think that you kind of have to pick up that option if nothing else. Could they trade him? Sure. But like $18 million is slightly more than the mid-level at that point a year from now. Like that's not a crazy number for Lou Dort. I do think that if they declined it, he would probably be able to cash in a little bit. We don't know exactly who's going to have cap space. And of course, that is a big part of these conversations is for guys to reach the market. There have to be guys that have cap or teams that have cap space for it to make a ton of sense. But I look at that and say, one, he is so valuable to what they do because he is such a good defender, even if he might not be the best defender on the roster. Maybe he's not going to be there forever, but I just look at that and say the Thunder have something that is valuable, whether he's playing for the Thunder or they trade him, he can provide value. So I look at I look at a lot of these club options and just think that guy is going to either be playing for the Thunder or they're going to trade him, but I just don't see him hitting free agency next summer.
Yeah. Now Washington has an interesting situation too. Chris Middleton and CJ are going to be free agents next year.
Right.
Does Washington keep any of those players? Like, is there a value such around the league you would want them to have? like additional years on their deals to be able to move them as like potential players that people want, or is Chris Middleton and CJ, are they just old enough at this point? Like Chris Middleton's, he's 35. CJ's also, both of them are 35 years old now. So what are you doing there? Like, do you think those are other players that'll be available on the free agency next year?
So I think that those are two guys that, I don't think, and you and I have not had a conversation about the Washington Wizards, but I don't think either of us are expecting them to be competing for a playoff spot next year in the Eastern Conference. I think that they're going to be, a team that's somewhere between 11 and 15 in the East.
Yeah.
I would imagine, and we're going to have to see what Chris Middleton looks like. Of course, he's had his fair share of health issues, and CJ McCollum, not exactly a young guy either, not the biggest guard, and typically as smaller guards age, they don't become better. But I do think that those are two guys that could be traded during this season. Like I would expect both of them to be free agents, but I don't think that they're going to play I don't think that either of those guys will play the entire season in Washington, whether it's because they get traded or they secure a buyout at a certain point from the Wizards and go try and join a contender. That's the way I look at those two situations.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Yeah, man, I think the Bucks could use somebody like Chris Middleton, so I think they should look into see if they can get a college.
Has he played there before or something? Like, what do you think that would make sense? I wonder how he would fit with Giannis.
Yeah, I'm sure we can Photoshop him and Giannis in the finals together.
Yeah, I think that we could do that. Well, there are, as we mentioned, a number of different guys that could reach free agency. We're going to power rank who we think are the best possible free agents next summer, right here on Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's show is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. The summer is my favorite time of the year. And part of the reason why the summer is my favorite time of the year is because it's golf season, certainly where I'm at in Northeast Ohio. And that means it's time for me to fuel up and turn it up with the 5 Hour Energy Transfusion, because it brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of the best golf drink there is, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just trying to make some memories with friends, because golf can be fun no matter your skill level, this drink's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest, some days on the course or off of it, you just need that extra energy boost to stay sharp and energized. Or maybe you're like me, and every time you go out there, maybe your biggest goal is to shoot well, but your second biggest goal might be trying to turn 18 holes into 36 holes, or at least 27 holes, sneak in an extra 9 there. Well, 5 Hour Energy can help make it happen. Right now, if you go to 5hourenergy.com, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use the promo code LOCKEDONGolf. That is LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This offer only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or, like I said, trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order the transfusion flavored 5 Hour Energy shots today. Thank you again for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. Like we said earlier, if you're watching the show on YouTube, do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button for us, click subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest from us. And we talked about a number of the guys that could reach free agency next year. I do wonder if LeBron James is going to be at the top of both of our lists, but let's start with number 3, Swipa. Who is your third in the power ranking system? Who is your third best potential 2026 free agent in the NBA?
I mean, Trey Young.
That's where I was going to go to. And Trae is extension eligible. He has a player option next summer at $49 million. I think that there are a lot of eyes on what the extension could look like between Atlanta and Trey Young, because I don't know that he's somebody that they want to pay a full max contract for.
What?
I don't know that the Hawks want to give him the max. I don't know that they do.
Well, I mean, it would have been a waste for them to do all the things they've done this summer then and last year. The whole point of them building this roster is to give Trey Young the adequate weapons that they need. The reason why they got Dyson Daniels is for Trey Young. The reason they drafted Jalen Johnson is for Trey Young. The reason they've got Zachary Ricochet to play the 4 is for Trey Young. The reason why they went and got Kristaps Porzingis is for Trey Young. The reason they got Nickeil Alexander-Walker is for Trey Young. Trey Young is a 25-12 player. Like, regardless of what people think about him, you're not going to find really a better passer, a better playmaker, and then one of the better scorers at the guard spot that's giving you that kind of volume and that kind of creation And he's probably the best half-court lob passer I've ever seen, like in the NBA before. Like just in that, being able to cross half court and just throw it up to somebody. I think from a handle standpoint, a pull-up standpoint, he's going to have an amazing season next year. If there ever was a year where Trey Young is going to look like a max player, it's going to be this one. They're probably going to be a top 5 seed this year. And then all of a sudden, Trey Young is, you're going to see him in like, oh, I got a real pick and roll, real pick and pop big. And I got like Onyeka Okongwu coming off the bench, and I got Guye coming off the bench. Like, they're going to have a roster rotation. For me, bro, it's a player option, and he's getting a max. Like, Jamal Murray got a 4-year, $208 million extension. He's better than Jamal. So if I'm him, I'm getting a max, 100%.
I think if Atlanta, I think if it was as easy as it sounds, an extension might already be done. Like, I just think if this was as easy as the Hawks say, how much money can you make Trey Young? I don't know what the exact dollar figure is. So how much money can you make? We'll give you all of it.
He's eligible to sign a 4-year, $222 million extension,
which is a lot of money. And I don't know that the Atlanta Hawks want to sign up for that amount. I'm not saying they want to get rid of Trey Young, but I don't know that they want to sign up for a full max.
How many players are better than Trey Young in the league, do you think?
I think he's probably somewhere between 20 and 25-ish. Because he has been such a minus on the other end of the floor. And I do think there's a legitimate question if you can win at the highest level with a guard that is his size as your best player.
So the 25th best third, the 25th highest paid player in terms of contract. Here, let me do AAV. So total value contract, you have Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese is also not a good defender. He's also a negative defender, but he's but
he's also not asked to be the best player on that team.
Well, I mean, that would be a Hawks problem instead of a Trae problem. But
I think that's why I think the Hawks might be a little uneasy about this, because that is a Hawks problem.
I mean, Lauri Markkanen's making 48. He didn't have a good year this year. Bane's making 40. Zion, Ja Morant making 40. LaMelo Ball's making 40. Jaren Jackson got 41. Jamal's making 52. I mean, you tell me, man, I'm just like, bro, Trey Young.
And you know what a lot of those are? A lot of those are bad contracts. Like a lot of those guys that you listed, like Lauri Markkanen, I don't think that's a good contract. Zion Williamson, obviously, like he's an incredible talent, but I don't think that's a good contract. Like I think if you look at a lot of those guys that you listed, a lot of those guys, I think the league looks at as that contract is not a good one to be on for the team.
Well, I mean, obviously, but they all were willing. All these players were willing to be resigned. Like, De'Aaron Fox is going to get a huge extension. He's probably going to get like 45, 50. He might get 50, probably get 50. I just think Trey Young's a better NBA player than him. But like I said, I think situationally it's interesting. You know, he doesn't have like a elite big, but Kristaps is pretty good. Like if Kristaps is healthy and he's not sick like he was this last year, it could be some special stuff shaking up in Atlanta.
I think that pairing is going to be, and I know we talked about this a bunch last week, but I think that pairing is going to be a really good one. It's just about how much are they on the floor together, because Kristaps comes with a pretty significant just question about the injuries, because he has not shown that he's been able to stay on the floor very much. Okay, so I did have Trae at number 3 on my list too. I am certainly a fan of Trae, the player. I just think that there's a potential that he hits the free agent market, because I don't know that the Hawks, and I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't. I just don't know that the Hawks want to pay him that amount of money. I don't know that.
Well, he's gone. I mean, if I'm Trae, then Trae. I mean, bro, if you think about it, he went to Portland with like Donovan Clingan and Hassan Yang and Robert Williams and Shaden Sharp and them, bro. They would be a playoff team. Like that. Trey Young is a really, 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 really good offensive engine, man. So I would be shocked if Atlanta was that dumb. Who's your number 2?
My number 2, because right now he has not signed the extension, is Kevin Durant. His extension eligible. Like it's hard to not have, even at his age, like he's still an incredible basketball player. And I would be stunned if he doesn't sign the extension, or if he hits free agency and leaves Houston. Like I think if you are Houston, you're trading for Kevin Durant. You're doing so because Kevin Durant's going to be part of your team for the next few years. But I have him at number 2 because I think he's that good still, even at this age.
Yeah, that's Kevin Durant for me. I'll put him, I'll just say, Kevin Durant's 2, LeBron's 1. I mean, it's
same. We have the same exact list.
Yeah, they're both 1 or 2. I think Kevin was better than LeBron last year, but like 1 or 2, I really don't care. But yeah, those are the 3 best players in free agency. and none of them hit free agency, maybe except for LeBron because of
I
situation.
think LeBron does, and I think the LeBron thing will be interesting.
That's going to be crazy.
I could.
Would you?
Do you
think Cleveland should offer him then if he's a free agent?
I think it depends what happens this season. Like, I just don't think that you can look at it so cut and dry without knowing what happens. Like, the Cavs could win the title this year. If they win the title this year, do they want to bring LeBron back? I don't know. If they come up short, like, I think there's a better chance that they would like to bring LeBron back to try and help them win another title. But I think that if you are the Cavs, while you should always be keeping tabs there, if you are the Cavs, I think that before you know for sure, you have to see what happens this postseason with that roster.
I don't think the Cavs are winning the title. I think it's the issue. And I think that like them and the Knicks will be interesting. But I don't know, man. LeBron being a free agent would be wild. There are a few teams that I would love to see him play for, but I doubt. Like I said, I really don't know if it happens or not.
I would be surprised if LeBron's not on the Lakers until he retires. I would be surprised by it, but I don't think you can rule anything out.
Yeah, the NBA
at
is
this
a crazy
point.
place.
It absolutely is. And thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else. And of course, if you're watching the show on YouTube, do us a favor as we get out of here. Hit that thumbs up button for us, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest with us. We'll be back tomorrow talking more about everything in the NBA.